The sun was setting on a quiet suburban neighborhood as Kelly watched her daughter, Emma, play in their front yard. The neighborhood seemed perfect, peaceful, safe, with tree-lined streets and neatly manicured lawns. Kelly had always dreamed of a life just like this one for her family, away from the hustle and bustle of the city. They had moved in just a week ago, and already it felt like home. She smiled as Emma kicked a soccer ball around, laughing with a few kids from down the street. It was moments like these that Kelly cherished, seeing her daughter so carefree and happy. But it wasn't long before Kelly noticed a man walking down the street, clipboard in hand, his eyes scanning the neighborhood. He was tall, dressed in a dark uniform, and had a stern look on his face. As he approached, he stopped at Emma, who was running after the ball. "Hey, you there!" the man called out, his voice gruff. Kelly frowned, unsure if she had heard correctly. Emma stopped in her tracks, the ball still rolling away from her. The man stepped closer, his eyes narrowing as he looked down at her. "You're making too much noise. You're violating HOA regulations. You need to quiet down." Emma, confused, looked up at him. "What? I'm just playing soccer." "It's not that loud. I don't want to hear excuses. You need to follow the rules," he snapped, taking a step forward. Kelly, now noticing the man's badge, saw the words HOA enforcement written on it. He wasn't just some neighbor. He was part of the homeowners association. But something about his tone rubbed her the wrong way. There was an authority to his voice that felt excessive for something as minor as kids playing outside. "Excuse me," Kelly called out, walking over to her daughter. "Is there a problem here?" The man's eyes turned toward her, sizing her up. "Your daughter is violating the noise restrictions. She needs to stop immediately." Kelly felt her pulse quicken, her protective instincts flaring. "She's just playing. It's hardly even loud. She's not breaking any rules." The man didn't respond. Instead, he grabbed Emma's arm, his grip tight as he yanked her away from the ball. Emma yelped in pain, trying to pull free. "Hey!" Kelly shouted, rushing forward. "Let go of her. What are you doing?" The man ignored her, keeping his hold firm on Emma's wrist. "I'm just doing my job. She needs to learn to follow the rules. Let go of my daughter." Kelly's voice was trembling with anger now. She reached forward to pull Emma away from the man's grasp. Suddenly, without warning, the man shoved Emma backward. She stumbled and fell to the ground, scraping her knees on the pavement. Kelly gasped, rushing to her daughter's side, panic surging through her as she saw the blood trickling from the scrape. Emma was crying, her face twisted in pain. "What did you do to her?" Kelly cried out, her voice shaking with rage. The man took a step back, acting as if nothing had happened. His eyes were cold, indifferent. "She needs to learn," he muttered dismissively. Kelly's heart was pounding. She had to get help. She fumbled for her phone, but her mind was racing too fast to think straight. How could he have just hurt her like that? I'm fine," Emma whimpered through her tears, holding her scraped knee. But Kelly's fury was consuming her. "No, you're not fine," Kelly screamed, her breath coming in ragged gasps. "You're hurt. That man is a monster." Before she could say another word, she grabbed Emma's arm and hurried inside, slamming the door behind them. Emma's sobs echoed in Kelly's ears, but they were quickly replaced with a rising tide of anger. She wasn't going to let this go. She couldn't. She grabbed her husband's military jacket from the closet, her hands shaking. A veteran, he had served in the Marines for over a decade, and his calm demeanor had always been a grounding force in their home. But she knew that once he heard about what had happened, he wouldn't stand for it, and she wasn't sure if she could stop him. Her husband, Aaron, was away for work, but Kelly called him immediately. "Aaron, you need to come home. Now, what's wrong?" Aaron's voice was steady, but she could hear the concern in his tone. "It's Emma, that man from the HOA. He hurt her. He punched her. I need you here." There was a moment of silence before Aaron's voice hardened. I'm on my way. Kelly paced the living room, waiting for him. Emma was sitting on the couch now, her knee bandaged with an ice pack. But her tear-streaked face told a different story. She was scared, and Kelly was too. She had always prided herself on protecting her daughter, but right now she felt helpless. When Aaron finally arrived, it was like a storm had entered the house. His expression was unreadable, but the tension in his body was palpable. He didn't waste a second. "What happened?" he asked, his voice low and controlled. Kelly quickly filled him in, her words tumbling out in a rush. She told him about the man from the HOA, about the way he'd grabbed Emma, about the punch that had sent Emma sprawling to the ground. Aaron didn't say a word. He was already walking toward the door. "Wait," Kelly cried, rushing after him. "You can't just go out there and do something rash." "I'm not going to let him get away with it," Aaron said, his tone leaving no room for argument. Within moments, Aaron was out the door, his military training kicking in. Kelly watched from the window, anxiety curling in her stomach. She had never seen him this angry before, but she knew better than to try and stop him when his blood was boiling. He was a man of few words, but when it came to protecting his family, he became a force of nature. It didn't take long for Aaron to reach the HOA enforcer's house. He found Brad standing outside, his chest puffed up as he spoke to a neighbor. Aaron approached with purpose, his boots thudding on the pavement. Brad noticed him immediately. "What do you want?" "I'm here to talk about what happened to my daughter," Aaron said, his voice low but filled with authority. Brad scoffed, his arms crossed. "I don't have time for this. Your daughter was breaking the rules." "I don't care about your rules," Aaron growled. "What matters is that you put your hands on my daughter. And now you're going to pay for it." Before Brad could respond, Aaron swung, his fist connecting with Brad's jaw. The impact sent Brad stumbling backward, and the fight was on. Neighbors had begun to gather, some watching from their windows, others standing on their lawns, murmuring in shock. Brad, who had once seemed so confident, was quickly overwhelmed by Aaron's strength and military training. The veteran's punches were precise, relentless. Brad barely had time to defend himself before he crumpled to the ground. "Stay down," Aaron said through gritted teeth, standing over him. He was breathing heavily, his fists clenched, but there was a sense of finality to his words. Brad didn't move, his face blooded and bruised, his once proud posture now shattered. "Get up," Aaron spat. "And remember this next time you lay a hand on someone else's kid." With that, Aaron turned and walked back home. He didn't need to say anything more. The message had been sent loud and clear. Kelly and Emma were waiting for him when he returned. Emma had stopped crying, though she still looked shaken. Kelly met his gaze, and without a word, she stepped forward and hugged him tightly. "You did what you had to do," she whispered. "Thank you. We'll be okay," Aaron said quietly, holding her close. He didn't need to say more. They knew that, together, they could face anything. In the days that followed, the community rallied behind the family. Neighbors who had been too scared to speak up about Brad's behavior finally came forward, sharing their own stories of his abuse of power. The HOA was forced to take action. Brad was removed from his position, and a new, more supportive leadership was put in place. The neighborhood, once under the oppressive rule of the HOA, was now free to live as they pleased, without fear of harassment. The family's life began to settle back into normalcy. Emma's scraped knee healed, and with each passing day, the memories of the incident faded, replaced by the sense of justice that had been served. And for Kelly and Aaron, they knew they had fought for their family and for their future.